Brill. So hopefully everyone can see that. So I'm Graham Holmes. I'm the head of finance at University Hospitals of Leicester, and I'll be presenting today with Donna, who'll introduce herself in a minute. So I'm one of the heads of finance, but I also chair our FPSD group, where we look at how the trusts works in terms of training and development, integration, culture, communication, the systems we have, and one of the things that we've initiated and shared as an innovation is about our award recognition scheme that we run each month, which we'll guide you through today. Now we think this is a really simple, easy idea to be implemented. So this might not take the full hour to go through, but I think it's worth sharing and worth. We've definitely seen some good results come from it. So just a few points about what we're going to go through today. So we're going to start off with why we did it, how we did it, how does it work on a practical basis, and then what are the outcomes and outputs that we've seen from it. We've got some feedback and examples of certificates. And then we've got a slot for questions at the end. But if anyone wants to ask a question throughout, if you put your hand up, and I think Donna will probably see it more before I do, but we'll answer them as we go along. And then obviously at the end we'll share some contact details if anyone wants to talk to us offline about it. So I'll hand you over to Donna for why we did it.
Thanks, Graham. Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Briggs. I'm one of the Deputy Directors of Finance at the University Hospitals of Leicester. But I have... Someone saying something then. But I focus totally on staff development. So don't do anything with the numbers. It's just all about the staff, my role. So I joined the Trust nearly 3 years ago, and the Trust was in a pretty bad position. The finances, for those of you that didn't see it, hit the HSJ headlines and the local news headlines. There were lots of financial irregularities. It was a really tough time for the finance staff at UHL, really, really tough. So part of my role initially was to sort of find out what had happened, how staff were feeling, but more importantly, what they wanted us to do moving forward to make it feel a better, more supportive place. So I did some interviews with people, did focus groups, stuff like that. But we also looked at the NHS staff survey results, and we did our own directorate staff survey, which sort of focused on particular areas. And one of the big things that came out of that was staff didn't feel recognised. And I think part of that was because the environment that we were in, we were overrun with auditors, people questioning everything and anything that had happened in the finance department. So there wasn't a lot of good stuff going around. There wasn't a lot of positive recognition for finance staff. And whilst obviously that situation hopefully is exclusive to UHL and has not happened in your organisations, but it's still a tough environment, I think, at the moment with the, the finances the way they are in the NHS. And I think finance staff, it's really important to make sure they feel valued, they feel supported, and that they're recognised for a lot of the hard work that they're doing in such a tough environment at the moment. So that was really the key reason that we decided we needed to do something. But also we knew things like the impact of COVID, where people were hybrid working a lot of the time, so weren't seeing all of their colleagues a lot of the time, and therefore weren't necessarily recognising in person some of the great things that people were doing. So that was a real sort of impacting factor, and still is to a certain extent. We still certainly undertake a very much a hybrid working model for the finance team. And we were worried about the impact on staff morale without that recognition, and whether they'd actually decide that they'd prefer to work for a different trust or even leave the NHS completely if what they'd seen so far at UHL is how it would continue. So we knew things had to change. We're also bringing together the finance team and the procurement team into one directorate, and wanted to make sure they understood what each other did and recognise some of the great things that were going on in all the teams within the directorate to help sort of bring them together. And actually, by seeing some of that best practice, they'll be able to share that and kind of pinch with pride. You know, if you see something good going on in a team, you can try and implement that in your own team, and to just generally make staff feel more valued, not just within their own teams, but within the whole directorate and within the wider organisation. So that's really why we wanted to do something that focused on recognition. So if you can move that on, Graham. So how we did it. This is the simplest thing. I know Graham said this won't last an hour. It won't last an hour because it's so simple, but the impact's been massive. So I asked for a few volunteers to help support me because I was leading on all the culture work. So just think about, so what do we do then to recognise staff? And we thought about the sort of format, and we just wanted to keep it really easy. We wanted to keep it open to everyone, so it wasn't exclusive. Anybody could be nominated and recognised for something great that they'd done. So it was about keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward. And in terms of submitting, again, we were thinking if we set up folders or file paths, will people lose them? You know, if you have to do an electronic thing. So we just thought, you know what, let's keep it so simple. Let's do it via email. Not set up any new template for them to fill in. Everyone receives emails, so we knew that they'd be able to reply on an email. And the criteria we wanted to keep as broad as possible. So not just focused on individuals, but actually you can nominate a team or a whole department. You can nominate for something professional that someone has done, a great piece of work, a great report, or something that they've done in their personal life or exam passes, or just something kind that someone has done to support another colleague when they were, you know, having a bit of a bad day. So the criteria were really, really broad. There was no constraints to that at all. And we wanted to link it to the trust values because we wanted to make sure that staff felt like they weren't just having an impact in the finance department, but that impact was linked to the wider delivery of the trust. So we thought it was important to have that link back into the central trust values. And a key really for me was making sure that the senior management team were behind this and that the CFO were behind it, because we wanted it to have longevity. We wanted to make sure this wasn't something that we did for a couple of months and then people kind of grew a bit tired of it, that actually we got real support and backing from the senior team, and that they would encourage nominations and also make nominations themselves, which, you know, they've been ones that people have been particularly proud of. You know, if a deputy director of finance or, you know, one of the senior managers has nominated someone for a great piece of work, that's been received really well. So if we move on to the next slide. So as I say, so simple. We literally, I send an email out on sort of towards the beginning of the month. Normally not the first day, I'll let them get month end out of the way. So about the 4th, 5th of the month, I'll send an email out just to say, have you got any nominations? And all I ask is you give a name of either the individual or the team, what the nomination is for, and then what trust value or values it's linked to. So I send those out, and actually, you know, it's working so well now. We're not even in February, and I've had 3 nominations for February already without even a reminder going out. So they're already coming through. And what I do, I just plonk those in a spreadsheet, big spreadsheet with that info in it, and I send it over to the CFO a couple of days before we have our monthly engagement event. And what Lorraine will do is she'll read every single nomination, and then she'll pick the one that she thinks stands out that month, you know, as something really great that someone has done or a team has done. I, in the meantime, convert those again to a really simple format of a certificate that copies the nomination, the names, and adds some sort of topping and tailing around our strap line for our directorate, a specific thank you from the CFO on the certificate. And then what Lorraine, the CFO, will do is every month at our engagement event, she will read out every single nomination, and she'll read them out verbatim. So she doesn't paraphrase or summarise. She will read out the exact words that somebody has said about an individual or a team around something that they've done that's great. And then at the end of reading through all of those, she will go back and then announce which one was her winner's choice of the month. Then after the engagement events, I will email out the certificates to each individual or team and CC the CFO in, and then the CFO always follows that up as well with a personal email from herself, just thanking them again, reiterating, the thanks for the great work they've done, and really referencing it back to what the nomination was for. So it feels a really personalised award. And then the last thing I do is Lorraine's winner. I put that into a trust-wide competition, which we have for sort of back office and support service staff. We haven't yet won, but I put the CFO's winner choice every month in there, and we will win one. But that just compounds, the bigger recognition, because we will win that. And the whole trust can then hear about something amazing that an individual or a team has done. So that's how it works. I think, Graham, you're going to talk a bit about the outputs.
Yeah. So some of the outcomes and outputs that we've had from this. So I think one of the things, and it links to what Donna said, is how this has taken off and how it's proved popular. It hasn't just run for a couple of months for us and then fizzled out. It's been going for a couple of years now, and we've had 408 nominations from April 22 to January 24, and already 3 in place for February. So we're getting a high number, consistently high number of nominations each month. The nominations vary as well in terms of who they're for. So it's within and across teams. So you can get accounts payable nominating someone in the financial management team, or someone in the procurement team, or a team within it itself, which is great because it helps bring us together as one team then, which is one of the trust values, and shows that even though there are little teams that make up finance, we all contribute to that bigger picture. The nominations are for completely different things. So sometimes it can be for technical things, like getting planning done, getting budgets out, getting final accounts sorted, but it can also be for supporting colleagues, providing mentoring, checking that people are okay, or even helping patients and that kind of thing. And kind of two things linked together is we have an annual away day as a finance and procurement function, and we invite our chief exec along, who with Lorraine, our CFO, works together and again goes through all them awards nominations and picks like an overall annual winner. But it's really great to have the chief exec along, just to show that he buys into it, but also because it links into that whole wider recognition piece that really was the aim of the project at the start. And that's really reflected in the positive feedback that we see from our colleagues in the directorate. So these are some of the feedback we've had. So we went through our level 2 ONF accreditation assessment last year, and obviously they, as part of that process, they interviewed a quarter of the workforce of the team, so about 50 people in our case, and these were some of the comments that came back about the recognition improvement that was in their report, and you can see there's some positive things about, there's a real conscious effort to let people know that their value, and the first one about having someone read out to the whole directorate what you've done really does make you feel valued, and then in a more I suppose more standard way, in our internal staff survey, 72% of our colleagues saw the Directorate Nomination Awards as a positive step for staff recognition, and actively participate in it. And I think 72% in any survey is usually fairly convincing that it's a success. these are just some of the examples that we've had, so we can see. I'll give people a chance to read through them just while I'm talking. But you can see there that they're for a variety of things. They're not just about technical accounting. It's about people going the extra mile and settling in well and having that really great engagement with budget holders, or that bottom one where we had a bit of a heat wave. And some of our finance colleagues went down to ED to make sure that the medics and nurses, were watered. Obviously, we can't look after patients, but we can make our lives easier for our medics and nurses. Yeah, the top one there about looking after someone who someone thought wasn't doing so well, and just asking, are you okay? And it leads to a good conversation where someone's able to check on that someone's doing okay. But they can be for technical accounting stuff as well. So with that last one there, you can see that about submitting our annual accounts, which I'm sure we all know the volume and time and dedication it takes to get them accounts together. And yes, someone's put their socks off to get it done. So yeah, individuals, teams, the nominations can be for anything. And I think that's why they're so effective. This is our certificate format. So as Donna said earlier on, it's really simple. I'm sure you could adapt your own. Obviously, we've got the trust logo, where when it's for the name of the person or the team, the why they've been nominated, and the trust values that it's linked to. Now our trust has gone through the process of changing its values, which is why they're different from October 23 to January 24. But yeah, it finishes off with the thanks from Lorraine, our CFO, and our tagline, adding value to everything UHL does. And I have to be honest, having received a couple of these, it's really great when you get. I mean, it's really great when it's read out, but when you get the certificate and then Lorraine sends you an email, just going, thought it was really good what you'd done. It really does make a difference. There really is something in the power of a thank you. So to bring it all together, then we've just put 5 stars here as to why we think this is effective and really something for the other trusts can implement. And essentially is that it's simple. It's not complicated. It's a little bit of admin about sending an email out and organising certificates, but it's not administratively burdensome. It's easy to run. Like I say, it's just a reminder email and then the CFO reading through them and deciding. It's free, which is always appealing to accountants. It doesn't cost us anything because of, it's our own certificates. It's through email. It's an informal system that does it. And then the final two are that it really works and it's effective. And we've seen that not only in our ONF level 2 accreditation review, but also in our internal staff survey, and we'll be running that again in March this year, and hopefully seeing similar, even if not even improved results on that. And then just to finish with any questions, if anyone wants to put their hand up and ask any questions, and we'll try our best to answer them. Oh, go on, Rachel.
Thank you for this. It's something that we've considered doing ourselves at our local trust. And I've just got a couple of questions. First of all, how large is your finance and procurement team? And second of all, one of the things that one of our deputy directors has said is that he's concerned that it might create this thing of, well, no one's never nominated me, some resentment in there, and also, oh, it's your turn to be nominated, that kind of culture. And I just wonder whether you'd had any negative feedback as well as the positive feedback you've had.
Yeah, I can answer some of that. So our team is about 200 people. I think it might just be slightly over. But yeah, so ours is a fairly large finance team because it's finance and procurement and supplies. So we do have large numbers. In terms of that, I never get nominated or it's your turn to be nominated. On a personal level, I haven't really seen that, and I know in my role, I am pretty much a one-man band, and I've been nominated a couple of times because people outside the area I work in have seen, stuff I've been doing. So I haven't really seen anything like that. I don't know if you've had anything fed back, Donna, like that.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. I think initially there was a little bit of that. I think the management accountants were much more confident and open in shouting out. I think financial services were a little more reserved. But it's felt a little bit competitive now, and it's like, actually, we're doing great things in our area as well, and we want those shared with everyone. And generally it has gone really well. I mean, Graham will tell you, I was so worried that we wouldn't get any nominations, after we launched it, or that you'd get a couple of months worth and then it would all fizzle out and die a death, which is why I love the fact that I'm getting them before I've even asked for them. So there'll always be an element of that, I'm sure, but it doesn't seem to be at the forefront of it. It seems to be people are really owning it. And I think the "it's your turn" is more about someone will go, gosh, Joe Bloggs has done so much for the last 6 months, and actually no one shouted Joe Bloggs out. I'm going to shout Joe Bloggs out. And that's where Graham talks about that kind of cross nominations coming out. And the lovely thing I like to see as well is they're not all one way. So we talk about a cross, but people nominate upwards and downwards and across. So that's lovely as well. So you'll get a manager shouted out for just being a fantastic supportive manager, as well as managers saying they did a great piece of work. Or so it just seems to have grown. But I think it is a bit of a deep breath and fingers crossed if you launch it. But I'd say go with it. Keep the faith. It'll work well.
Thank you.
No problem. Sarah, do you want to come in?
Yeah. I was just going to say thanks for that. It was really useful. Like, we do something similar at Alder Hey, and we have done for quite a while now. But what I think initially we started off with, if we had a couple of nominations, we'd sort of, the senior managers would pick one person. But I think now at the minute what we do is we tend to just we read out the nominations. We have like a monthly, it's called a one team girl meeting, where all the staff are there. The nominations get read out, but there isn't sort of a winner as such. It's kind of just anyone who's been nominated. We read out their nomination, and then we give them we have like a little finance sort of logo. So we had some badges done. So we give them like a badge they can put on the lanyard, and we give them a letter that comes from like the director of finance. So that's really nice. But I think for me, it's kind of just, sometimes we'll get a couple of nominations, sometimes we won't get any, and I suppose it's just how you keep up that momentum of encouraging people to submit the nominations, because there's loads of people who are always doing great things, and I suppose it is just how you encourage the staff to keep remembering to sort of submit them nominations, really.
I think you're right, Sarah. It's that constant reminder. I know I've said people are being proactive now, but you do sort of need to keep reminding people, this month, if but it's not about forcing. It comes back to Rachel's point of, you don't want people to feel like, well, I've just been nominated because someone had to be nominated in my team this month. It doesn't feel like that. And I think the thing generally that staff like is that the CFO reads them all out. So I think that has a massive impact, and probably the biggest commitment from anybody, it's not me sending an email reminder or doing the certificates, it's actually Lorraine reading them all out, taking the time, and then doing that personalised email afterwards as well. I think that means so much that's why it hasn't lost that momentum. But
definitely going to take that bit away, and also maybe come up with like a certificate, because like I say, we give the person a letter which is sort of the nomination, so they can read back what's being said about them. But yeah, I think just a sort of certificate in that email just adds that bit of, it just makes it a bit more special, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I know teams, there are individuals that print them off and put them on their wall with, I know we've got the commission and contracts team, they've got a whole board, a celebration board, and they can't wait to get one to get printed off and put up on their board. So and it makes you smile, doesn't it? You know, when you see the words, it's a lovely feeling.
I was going to say it's good for like people's personal development as well, because if they in the future, like if they go for another job or something like that, it's good to keep all of them for like your own records, isn't it? If you've got like a portfolio or anything like that.
I've seen that recently where we've had internal candidates apply for jobs and they've said in their application or their interview, I've been nominated for 3 awards for my commitment. And I think, you know, so they genuinely feel the value of them. Otherwise they wouldn't raise them in an interview sort of scenario. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
And linked to that, just from personal experience, I use mine in my PDR each year to go, this is what I've done as well on that. So yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Oh, one more.
It's not a question. My name is Ishan. I work at London Northwest. So is the just an observation when somebody is nominated, whether they end up winning or not. I think kind of motivation it brings to the role is just not quantifiable, honestly. And it doesn't have to be vertically down the line. I mean, like you said, I mean, if somebody horizontally is looking at your achievement and then recognizing it, I think making an application to nominate someone itself is a testament that, I mean, you've achieved something. So it's a recognition of that. And I think bringing that recognition into the role has got a huge amount of motivational impact on the role itself. So then not only you're bound by your job description, of course, I mean, you have to then, you may just internally feel like, I mean, I need to do something extraordinary to be able to not only, I think take myself out of lots of people who are actually working together, but of course, I mean, something that can then add value in the process. So I think I was nominated last year for HFMA award, digital innovation, and that I ended up winning. So I think kind of motivation that you get from that, let alone, I mean, whether you win it or not. But I think be part of that recognition sort of, I think, campaign that gives a lot of boost actually into the role.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I tried to say it in the presentation, is that don't underestimate the power of a thank you in what it can do, because sometimes, you know, we all have our jobs and there's bits of jobs we don't like inevitably. And sometimes when you come through them, it's nice that, I mean, not only that in our case, Lorraine reads it out and that kind of thing, but it's also nice that someone either you work with or manages you or you manage has seen that and taken the time to write it down and send it in as well. It really does make a difference, and well done on the HFMA award.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
They're always very difficult to get, so well done. Paula?
Hiya. Thanks for that excellent presentation. I just wanted to ask, do you have trouble with people wanting to nominate anonymously, that they don't like, oh no, I want to nominate somebody, but I don't want them to know it's me? We're trying to do something at the moment and people are like wanting it to be anonymous, i.e. not email. So we're trying to set something up on our Integra system. Have you had trouble with that? No?
So I have to say we haven't particularly. I've probably had 2 or 3 times people have said, I want this to be anonymous, but they're happy to tell me. And no one sort of, I suppose, complained or not complained, made a suggestion to turn it into an anonymous thing, because it just seems to be kind of accepted well. But they don't mind doing the anonymous if they do want it anonymous via me. They're like, you know who I am, but you won't tell anyone, will you? So yeah, I don't know how that's a bit more complicated, I suppose, if you're trying to set that up, isn't it? Why do they want to do it anonymously, Paula?
I think it's just a bit not embarrassing, but it's like especially if it's like maybe their manager or something. It looks like they're not sucking up. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, one of the things for us that we really like is that you get that like cross team nomination, so that you know that procurement have nominated someone in FM, and we want to not only celebrate the nomination but also that two teams are working together, kind of thing. I can see in the chat, Mark. Sorry, I think I might have just interrupted. I
was just going to come in and say that we've done a couple of things recently where we've done a finance department staff survey, and we asked people to sort of put their band and their department in, but that sort of led to some people being identifiable, and they were like concerned that even like I was collecting the results of that, I'd know it was them. So we did a prefer not to say option. But if you set it up through Microsoft Forms, which comes as part of Office 365 for the NHS, if you've got it, it just basically, you can say as one of the items, record the person who's submitting it or don't record it. And if you did a don't record and put a field in for their name, you could collect their name, or they could put anonymous and prefer not to say type thing. But if you want me to quickly show you that afterwards, Paula, I'm happy that you contact me. I'll very quickly show you on Teams.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, that'd be really good.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
I've got about half an hour now if you want, because it was in my diary for.
Give you that time back to show Paula.
That's it. There we go. I'm not seeing any other hands up, I don't think. So just the final slide, which everyone will get at the end when I share it with Aoife, is just our contact details on there. If anyone wants to talk to us, like you've just done questions, thank you. And then if you don't want to do that, if you want to read through, this is in the ONF Innovation Library, and I've put the link in it there so people can find it and read through it. And I think again you can make contact with us through that if you want, but you'll have mine and Donna's email address through this anyway. If anyone wants to ask us any more questions or bounce ideas off, we're more than happy to help. I think that probably brings us to a close, doesn't it, Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate, if you haven't done it and you're thinking about doing it, do it. It will work. It will be great, and give a massive boost to your staff. So we certainly found that. But thank